In this tutorial, we are going to look at a set of UndoDB commands that are useful when working with breakpoints and watchpoints. Before proceeding, we have to keep in mind that although watchpoints are implemented differently, they are seen by the debugger as a type of breakpoint. Hence, all breakpoint commands apply to watchpoints also. The first topic we will address is break conditions. Breakpoints can be configured so that program execution stops only when a certain expression is evaluated as true. We call these conditional breakpoints, and the expression that is evaluated is called a break condition. Break conditions can be specified when a breakpoint is set by appending an if clause to the argument of the break command. Alternatively, we can set or update a break condition by using the condition command. The syntax is conditioned, followed by a breakpoint number and an expression. We will exemplify the two approaches by using a program that implements a number of sorting algorithms. Suppose that we would want to set a conditional breakpoint on line 31, so that execution stops only when a variable j holds an even number. We would first load the program in UndoDB, then set the conditional breakpoint. If we run the debug, we can see that indeed execution stops only when variable j holds an even number. Now let's change the breakpoints condition so that it activates only when j is an odd number. To remove a condition from a breakpoint, we just set an empty condition on that breakpoint. In addition to setting breakpoints, UndoDB provides a feature called breakpoint command lists. This allows us to define lists of actions that are to be executed when a breakpoint is hit. The syntax for defining breakpoint command lists is commands followed by an optional breakpoint number to which it applies a list of actions that terminates with the end keyword. When no argument is provided, commands refers to the last breakpoint or watchpoint set. If the most recent breakpoints were set with a single command, such as rbreak, then the command list will apply to all the breakpoints set by that command. Let's run an example. Starting a new debugging session, we're going to define a breakpoint on line 18, and then run the debug. On this line, inside the bubble sort function, a swapping of array variables takes place. By adding a command list, we can easily print at runtime the values being swapped without modifying the code of the debug. Let's define the command list. We can check that the command list has been set on breakpoint 1 by running the infob command. Having assigned the command list to breakpoint 1, we can now resume execution. Notice the silent command at the beginning of the command list. This is intended to suppress the default message printed when a command list executes. Finally, to remove a command list from a breakpoint, we can set an empty command list on that breakpoint. So, for example, removing the command list on breakpoint 1 can be done via As we can see, the command list has been removed. The next topic in this tutorial is that of breakpoint control. Apart from creating breakpoints, available operations are deleting, enabling, disabling, and even ignoring them. Let's focus on each operation at a time. Deleting breakpoints can be done through two commands, delete and clear. While delete applies to breakpoints as they are identified by their number, clear applies to breakpoints as they are identified by their relative location inside the code. There are multiple ways in which we can use these two commands. So for example, if we know the number of the breakpoint we want to delete, we're going to use delete followed by the breakpoint number. If we want to delete a range of breakpoints, such as breakpoints 3 to 5, we're going to use delete followed by that range. Instead, if we want to delete the breakpoint set on a function, without knowing its number, we will use clear followed by that function name. Finally, if there is a breakpoint set on the next instruction, we can remove it by simply using the clear command. Let's see these two commands in action. First, let's set multiple breakpoints. Now, let's delete breakpoint number 2. Let's also delete breakpoints in range 1 to 4. Let's now delete the breakpoint on function selection sort. Enabling breakpoints is done through the enable command. This is similar to delete in the sense that it works with the breakpoint numbers, ranges, or without any argument. Different from delete, enable accepts three special arguments. With once, the debugger will enable breakpoints until they are hit for the first time, then will disable them. With count, the debugger will enable the specified breakpoints after they are hit for a given number of times. While with delete, the debugger will transform the breakpoints into temporary ones, which will be deleted after they are hit for the first time. Disabling breakpoints is achieved through the disable command. This accepts as argument a breakpoint number, a range of breakpoint numbers, or no argument at all. Let's see these two commands in action. First, let's disable all breakpoints. Then, let's enable breakpoint number 4, and breakpoint number 1 will be enabled once. Now let's also enable breakpoint number 5 for deletion. As we can see from the output of the InfoB command, breakpoint number 1 has been enabled, but is going to be disabled after it is hit for the first time. Also, breakpoint number 5 has been enabled, but it will be deleted after it is hit for the first time. A special type of condition is that of forcing a breakpoint to activate only when it has already been hit a number of times. In this case, we will use the ignore command. In a new debugging session, let's make the debugger ignore breakpoint number 4 one time. Now, when we run the debuggy, we can see that the breakpoint number 4, which should have been the first one to be hit as it is set on the main function, has been skipped. Execution has stopped inside the bubble sort function instead. If we run the InfoB command, we can see that actually breakpoint 4 has been hit, but it has been ignored. In this tutorial, we have presented a number of commands which are useful when working with breakpoints and watchpoints. Three main topics have been addressed: break conditions, breakpoint command lists, and breakpoint control. By using break conditions, execution will stop on a breakpoint only if its condition is met. There are two ways in which we can set break conditions, either when defining the breakpoints or later on using the condition command. Command lists allow us to define actions that are to be executed whenever a breakpoint is hit. Finally, breakpoint control is done for operations such as deleting, enabling, disabling, or ignoring breakpoints or watchpoints. For more information, visit Undo's documentation page at docs.undo.io.